What's up, guys? I'm here with Mark, the owner of Canna Trading Company. Mark, tell us about yourself.
I started Canna Trading Company back in 2015 and was heavily based in the THC vape world. I had all my permits, paid all my taxes, did all the things that everyone wanted us to do. And as I saw the trend change, I was always heavily involved in CBD and just realized with the state of the whole cannabis world, application fees, everything else, that unfortunately, after persevering for 4 years, I just had to walk away from the THC world. And it was a tough decision, but with the pricing to get permits, the hoops you have to jump through, and everything to that extent, I just realized that I couldn't stay in it. And it was a very difficult decision. I love CBD. I believe in CBD like you can't imagine. I've seen some amazing things happen with CBD, with people that were on opiates, on 4 Advil in the morning, 4 Advil in the afternoon, and what CBD has done for them has just been mind-blowing. But at the end of the day, it's just sad that people like me and many, many people I know had to leave the world that they've been in forever, all due to the fact that the government saw this as the biggest moneymaker ever and decided that $250,000 to get a permit, hundreds of thousands of dollars to renew, things like that was the way that they were going to take it. And then the next thing you know, people like me just stood there with our arms up and watched the big venture capitalist company who literally 3, 4, 5 years ago looked at us as criminals, and now they want to look at us as partners. And that's a very hard thing for me to swallow. The way that we were perceived years ago and the way that we're perceived today is just a difficult thing for me to wrap my brain around. I moved out from the East Coast, was fully permitted back there, and worked with the state. It was actually a fantastic situation back on the East Coast where I came from, and the state people were just, first of all, so nice, and second of all, wanted to help. They knew what the money was coming in. They knew that everyone was paying their permit fees, everyone was paying their taxes, and they made it a great thing. And then I moved out west when my son got out of high school and started in this world, and thought it was fantastic, to be able to carry your permits in your car, have the police. I never got into this situation, but I know very many people that have, that could potentially be pulled over, were pulled over, and giving the police your permits and being an open book, fully transparent with them. And they literally said, yeah, you're fully permitted, you're 100% legal, and have a good day. To now all of a sudden, a lot of the people that I know had to go back to the black market, and that's not where we want to be. And no one wants to be in the black market. I walked away from it rather than being in the black market. I felt more comfortable just walking away from the THC world and a great business that I had built up, all due to the fact that I did not know someone that wanted to give me $250,000, $500,000, $1 million so that I could persevere in this world. And I'm looking at the state of California, and being an East Coaster, Humboldt County buds and California buds, that was like cream of the crop. And the people up in the mountains made this world. 20, 25 years ago, being out here and being able to get Humboldt County buds was the thing. You had a jar of it and you were on top of the world. And all of those farms persevered. Yes, it was illegal. I'm not supporting the illegal part of it, but that's the reality if you were a marijuana smoker years ago. And families that had gone through the permit application, had their medical, were doing great things. And am I here to say that every person was doing a great thing? No, I'm not. And that's not what I'm trying to get across. But what I am trying to get across is that people worked hard for so long now to have nothing. You know, it's sad that farms up north all of a sudden had to put in $200,000-$300,000 roads that a fire truck could get down to an outdoor crop, and an outdoor crop had to have so many regulations that it was unbelievable. Where, you know, PG&E can have no regulations on their power lines, burn down entire towns, and that's okay. But as soon as you put marijuana into the sentence, it was a different ball game. And now that I sit here and am very disappointed that I had to walk away from a business that was successful, people really enjoyed the product, and I just had to physically walk away from it, all due to the fact that my bank account was not large enough. And the reality of who is taking over this industry is the saddest part, because they don't care. It's all a numbers game. It's all a spreadsheet, and the numbers worked for them. They decided to put millions of dollars into the business, and now they own it. They took it away from everyone that cared. They took it away from the people that worked hard, and these people never left their office. They could care less about marijuana. They looked at us in a very negative way, and now they own our industry. And it's just a hard thing for me to sit here and digest, because we did it. You know, people like me, people like the farmers up in the mountains, the people in the warehouses, with the permits that they could afford, we created what we have now. And now every landlord, every politician looked at this industry as being such a moneymaker that they jacked up the prices of rents, they jacked up the prices of the application fees, and now we get washed to the wayside because a venture capitalist or a Canadian company that has multi-millions of dollars decided that they're going to own it. I think that the way that the Canadians came into this market, they took it over, and they're not even in this country yet. They get to own our market because of the laws in Canada, the investment laws in Canada, and all of us small guys just got pushed to the wayside. And it's just such a disappointment, because we did it, you know? I mean, and I'm not, people did it 10 times more than I did, and I'm not here to say that I did it by any means, but I was involved.
Yeah.
And I did what I was asked to by the state. I paid for my permits, I paid for my taxes, I did it all. And then all of a sudden, one day, over one vote, every one of us lost our livelihood and had to figure out a new direction. And that's been a hard thing to swallow, because the people that are in it now, and yes, there are still some great people in it, I'm never ever going to deny that, but most of the money that is in it, that can afford to be in it, never ever wanted to be in it.
Yeah, they have no business in it.
No business in it.
At all.
They don't smoke, and I'm not a big smoker anymore, so I'm not going to say that not smoking marijuana should not allow you to be in this business, but they don't care outside of their financial spreadsheets, and that's where we are now. And I look at it in different angles. First of all, disappointment, and then second of all, in caring. Like, these people just, they don't care. They don't, the big investors, they don't go to the warehouses.
No.
They don't, cut clones.
Like you said, they don't leave the office.
They don't leave the office.
And they don't
even
about
leave Canada. Most of them don't even leave Canada.
Yeah.
And if they if they go to, if they're coming into the U.S. and they say that they have any involvement whatsoever in the industry, then they're banned to come into the U.S. forever. So they don't even have to. They're never going to leave where they are. They're never going to leave their office. Yet they're going to bring home all of our money.
Yeah.
And it's just so unfair because the small farmer in every industry, if it's corn, if it's tomatoes, if it's in sweet potatoes, they created their worlds, and then the big people with money came in and took it from them. And the care that some of these farmers put into their crops was unbelievable. And now it's all science-based, which I understand. I mean, in order to grow enough food for this world, science obviously had to come into it. I mean, the drone technology on big agricultural farms is fascinating. I understand that aspect of it, but I'm extremely disappointed that we got blocked out of it just because the government and the average person looked at a marijuana person as being rich.
Yeah.
They never understood that a crop can fail because of mites, because of irrigation pumps going. I mean, the potential of crop failure is monstrous, and you could put months and months into plants and lose your crop and financially not make money. They didn't care about that. They didn't even know about that. They just felt because of some people in the industry that made a lot of money and put themselves on social media and bragged about it, and those are the only people that were recognized. You know, the small farmer that loves what they did, put so much effort into it, is now out of it. You know, you look at the strains that we have today; those weren't created by the big boys.
No,
I mean, those were created by the small farmer that took 2, 3, 5 years of breeding to get the strains that we have. You know, just in the CBD world, that's where I focus these days, 100% in the CBD world. And the amount of breeding that it took to breed these new CBD plants was unbelievable. And now in the CBD world, it's a marketing play. It's 100% a marketing play. We work with a lot of marketers, and those marketers were working with CBD companies that were growing rapidly, and they were invoicing them X amount a month and seeing that CBD company was making 30X a month. And they sat back and they realized that those CBD companies were working with manufacturers and not really making their own product in-house, but buying it in from a manufacturer. And these marketers saw that, and they dropped their CBD companies. They made a brand, they contacted a white label company, and now they're starting to take over the CBD world.
Yeah.
And all they're doing is going to these big manufacturers, and the manufacturers have a checklist. Oh, you can have a 750 milligram peppermint or tincture, and they're just literally checking off the boxes, getting a product in that they have no idea about. They don't know the efficacy of it. They don't know the oil that's being used. They know nothing except for the fact that they know the internet. And knowing the internet, now they're taking over the CBD world. So I saw it in the THC world, and now I live it in the CBD world. I get calls every day from people who don't even know the basics of CBD, but they know they have a marketing team, they know they have the money behind it, and they know they're going to kill it. And through the trickle-down effects of where their product goes and the efficacy, some people make fantastic products, and by no means would I, sit here and shit on some of these companies. But at the end of the day, a lot of people don't. And it doesn't matter, because how you brand your product and how you get it on the internet is all that counts. And I get calls from people all the time. You know, I was on CBD for months and it did nothing for me, and then I used your CBD and I can't believe how good it feels. And for me, obviously it's positive to get that confirmation from an end user, but it also really disappoints me because 30% of the people will use CBD from a shitty manufacturer who doesn't care except for the end result financially, and give a product that doesn't work, and then those people will tell every single one of their friends that they tried CBD and it didn't work. So I've gone from a situation of putting a lot of effort into the marijuana world, you know, paying for my permits, working with the state, you know, back on the East Coast where I was, I mean, I could text one of the women in the department to ask a question, and she texted me back to make sure everything was cool. You know, literally like, hey, is this okay? Yep, under the regulations, that's 100% okay. And we did everything that we could, and now all of a sudden we stand in a position where we physically can't even do anything anymore.
No.
You know, and unfortunately, you know, we're in a capitalist country, money drives everything, but it's so unfortunate that money drove the people out of this industry that have been in it forever, and now just have to go back and try to find a job. Like, I mean, you know,
yeah, I don't know.
You know, it's like, where do you even apply these days? It's just like,
yeah, what do you do? I owned a business. I employed several people for years. I did this and that. Can I work at Pizza Hut?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? No,
exactly.
you're overqualified. I'm sorry, sir. Okay, well, can I go do this? No, you're underqualified. Where the fuck do we go?
Yeah, where do we go? I mean, luckily, I've been in the CBD for 4 years, and I was able to make the transition. I've gotten review sites that have really reviewed my product on a high level. But even with the efficacy that I put out and the effort that I put into working on formulations on a daily basis, doesn't matter because I don't have the marketing money to get it on the internet, and the big companies do.
Yeah.
And the big companies don't even make their product. They don't care about their product. You know, it's an easy thing to research on the internet. What is the best-selling product? Oh, it's 750 milligrams in an olive oil. Oh, all right,
Cool.
we'll make it.
We'll make it.
You know, I get 55-gallon drums from local olive companies, you know, within 8 miles from here. You know, his wife has epilepsy. His daughter has Tourette's. We trade CBD for olive oil. The energy within the olive oil is phenomenal. And the taste is fantastic, you know, the end result of it's fantastic, yet it doesn't matter because I don't have the money to go to trade shows. I mean, a trade show is going to cost you $30,000. You've got to take a week out of your time. You have to have employees there, and it's just unbelievable that the workers in this industry that created it, and even 20 years ago at the black market, they created it.
Yeah.
You know, and now they have absolutely no part of it, right down to the point where the guy with the money that got into it, could afford everything, knows nothing about it, but he knows how to call the police to tell on the person down the street.
Yeah. Because you're affecting his pocket.
You're affecting
and when he
his
said
pocket.
he doesn't know the difference between outdoor, greenhouse, light depth, indoor, it's money.
Money.
It's money.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's fucking money. Here you go. I don't like it. I don't want to touch it. It's money.
Yeah.
And that's disgusting.
Yeah.
There's no love for a product like you're saying, or for quality. You know, where's it gonna head? Where's it gonna head from here?
Yeah, I was recently introduced to a lawyer who, after one meeting, I knew right away I wouldn't want to work with him, but he was a contract lawyer, was able to buy land where it was permitted, was able to afford all the studies, was able to afford the application fees, and he was never, ever, ever going to grow. He was going to rent out the property, yet he knew that he could get through the permit application, and he knew what he could rent it for per square foot, and he knew what he was going to bring home at the end of the day.
Yeah.
He was in his 70s, not that age matters by any means in the marijuana world, but he had no desire to be whatsoever in marijuana, but he knew that he could get through the application fee with his lawyering background. He knew he had the money to do it, and he knew that he could rent out the property to another grower and make a nice living. You know,
and that's where we're at.
And that's where we're at. You know, and obviously that's business. I mean, it unfortunately at the end of the day, that is business. But these people didn't want this business 3 years ago.
No.
These people didn't want the business 5 years ago. And now all of a sudden, they own the business.
Yeah, 10, 15 years ago, they wouldn't touch it. They wouldn't want to be associated with it. They wouldn't even talk about it. No, I don't even want to talk about it. That's criminal shit.
Exactly.
Now it's like, oh, what great profit. Let's jump in on this. Yeah, it's disgusting, man.
And they brag to their friends. Like I know people, oh yeah, my buddy, man, he's psyched because he's making all this money in there, and he just got into it. Well, yeah, you're right. You know, he is making all sorts of money, but he doesn't care. You know, he's never. You know, some of these guys that would go out on the limb to make tinctures for epileptic children when they knew what could happen to them, and they didn't care. They knew that a child needed it. They did all the lab testing to make sure that product was perfect. They did all the math to make sure that the dosage was exactly what that child was going to need. And they knew what they were doing, but they knew that a child needed it and help those children. And that's the very disappointing part of this, is that we had people that would put themselves on the limb to help other people, and now they're non-existent in the industry now because the person that owns it owns a bank account that can get them through and allows them to own it.
And that's Prop 64 now. But with 215, it was more like you said, people were out to help people. You went in network and did events, people were out to help people. Nobody was really out to fuck you over and make a bunch of money off you. We were all networking and we were a giant web and we all helped each other. Yeah. You help get products to me, I help get products to people, the growers help get you. You know, it's all a web, we all work together. Nobody was ever trying to fuck each other over. They wouldn't fit into the industry if they did. They would be squeezed out, you know, with a shitty attitude like that, because it's good people. Usually you're surrounded by good people when you're in this, doing something.
Yeah, I mean, and there was always the groups out there that were just pumping out buds and getting it back to New York City or Chicago or whatever, and it was 100% financial. But there's always going to be those people in every world.
Yeah.
I mean, there's gas station owners that turn their meters aren't accurate, so they're actually giving you less gas. So you're in any industry, you're always going to have that person.
Yeah.
But in this industry, I believe that there was an extreme high percentage of people that wanted to help people out.
Yeah. And
to give away marijuana because someone needed it, farmers justified that all day long. Hey, you know, this person maybe has cancer, this person has seizures, this person has severe pain in their knees that they can't work throughout the whole day. I'll make them a salve that they can put on their knees, and they can have it. Like, they can have it.
Yeah.
You know, and you know, if it was a karma play, whatever play it was always for the best. And now we don't have that. I mean, the amount of money that it costs to go to a dispensary, to pay your taxes, and to get your recreational or your medicine is staggering. Like, I mean, if I was a big marijuana smoker and it took me off of a antidepressant and anxiety medication, it took me off of that, well, all of a sudden I can't afford that anymore, because if you want to go buy some really nice tinctures that are $119 and then you get taxed on top of that, and then you're like, holy smokes, like I I don't have $150.
Yeah, exactly.
But I have a copay, and I can go buy Xanax
for way cheaper. Yeah.
For a $20 copay, I can have my Xanax for the month. I won't have my anxiety. I can buy my Oxy, Codones, Cottons, whatever, Percocets, whatever on a copay, and my knees won't hurt. Like that's what people have to go back to, because the solves and the tinctures and everything costs so much money, and then the state throws their taxes on it, and the average person in America, you're living on a budget. I mean, I think the average person has 2 weeks paycheck in their bank account.
If they're lucky.
Yeah, if they're lucky.
And
all right, I've got kids. The kids are going to play soccer this year. I have to get that uniform, because I don't want my child to get harassed at school because mom and dad couldn't afford a uniform. So now I can't have the solve or the tincture that's going to change my life. But I have a copay, and I have to go back to the pharmaceutical world.
That's horrible.
And I think that you've got some of these big guys that own 7, 8 dispensaries here. They own them in Vegas. They own them in New York City. They're publicly funded, and they don't care anymore. Some of these eighths, are staggering that you have to pay $65 for an eighth of weed.
Yeah.
Plus tax.
Which would come out to double what you will pay on the streets.
Yeah.
Anywhere.
And a vape pen. I mean, to really make a vape pen, you're into it for $6 and $7, whatever it's so low, and the end user has to pay $65 for that.
Yeah.
And it's like
plus tax.
Plus tax.
So you're looking at $80.
Yeah.
For a gram cartridge.
Yeah, I mean, oil. A liter of oil is $8,000, so it's $8 a gram.
Of the cleanest oil.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then a cartridge. I mean, for a full gram cartridge, it's costing them without overhead and everything, it's costing them $10, $11 to produce. And a full gram, I mean, is expensive. And half grams are $50.
Yeah.
In the dispensary, and the average person is yes, you get some people who are all excited. They can go to the dispensary, they can buy their marijuana, and then go home, but they can afford it.
I think they're relying on tourists, and even the higher up people like that, maybe that make more money and that can't afford it, they probably don't even want to go through all that shit either. Going in, have you been in a dispensary?
I've been in 2 or 3 dispensaries my entire life.
It's not that much fun, man. You walk in, they boss you around. Don't go over there. Don't look at that. Get in the fucking line. You're up to this here, and they're not very informative. They don't know what the fuck. What are you selling? It's a hybrid.
Yep.
Can you tell me anything else now?
I was talking to one of my friends, and she's a nurse the other day, and we were having this marijuana discussion, and she says that the most evil thing that she's ever seen people have to deal with is alcohol. People go in for surgeries, they don't want to admit to their surgeon that they drink a 6-pack a night. All of a sudden they're in there for surgeries, and 2 days later they're having severe withdrawals, and withdrawals lead to immune systems going down, and hospitals are so dirty to begin with because obviously everyone's there with a disease. The next thing you know, they got a pneumonia, and the next thing you know, not saying they're dead, but they're in this world of hurt, all based around alcohol, which has no tax base. There's no tax base. It's so accepted in our society, and it's so evil. I mean, kids die. Parents are driving their kids home from school, and a drunk driver hits them, kills the whole family, and yeah, it may get 2 seconds on the news, but it's alcohol, and at the end of the day in society, that's okay.
Yeah, anywhere you go, you can get alcohol.
Anywhere
you go.
I mean, across the street from schools, alcohol,
the movies,
tobacco.
Everywhere,
yeah. You can go to sit in a movie
and have a beer
at a kid's show.
At a kid's show, yes.
You got your 6-year-old kid watching a cartoon movie, and you're drinking beers, and that's okay.
It's okay.
Yeah, but as soon as you want to have a THC product or anything like that, it's always looked at as financial these days. Society's starting to accept it. It's on the news all the time. It's starting, doctors are starting to be like, oncologists, everyone's starting to be like, hey, this CBD, this marijuana, it's real positive.
Yeah.
It's real positive. Yet, we're going to tax it so hard that it's taken out.
Yeah.
And yet I can go down and I can buy a 6-pack and I can pay the 7 or 8% state tax, and it's okay.
It's all right.
Yep.
It's everywhere.
And
it's boring. Drinking alcohol is the most boring of drugs. And it's the most accepted.
Oh, it's so accepted.
Yeah.
I mean, would most of these downtown areas survive without bars?
Paso wouldn't. No, I know Paso wouldn't.
I mean, bars. Restaurants strive to have to not only have a beer and wine license, but to have an alcohol license.
A liquor license, yeah. Too.
So that they can serve liquor because they know they'll get more people coming in because more people want to have mixed drinks than a beer and wine.
Yeah.
And that's okay. And most downtowns would not be successful without alcohol, and they tax you nothing on it. Alcohol is so bad that they have to have checkpoints when you drive out of town because there's so many drunk drivers doing that, and they know that. Checkpoints are a real deal because they know how bad alcohol is, yet it's okay. It's okay. Would Uber and Lyft exist without bars? Yet as soon as you put a THC product and now CBD products anywhere, a CBD gummy that a child feels very comfortable eating, now the FDA is banning it and towns are going in and taking it off the CBD shelves. It's because it's a gummy, which at the end of the day, children are benefiting from CBD unbelievably.
Yeah.
I have friends that have 9, 10, 11, 12-year-old children with ADHD or something, and the doctor wants to prescribe them a heavy narcotic. Ritalin and stuff is a speed.
Yeah.
You eat it for 20 years, your teeth rot out, but that's okay because you're going to be sitting with a doctor for 10 minutes. They're going to be like, oh, you got ADHD? Boom, here's your script. Go pay the pharmaceutical world and rot your teeth out, do whatever, and that's okay. That's a co-pay situation. But as soon as we touch a plant, all of a sudden the government says, we want our taxes, we want to take the price so high that the average person can't afford it, and we want you to stick with pharmaceuticals and we want you to stick with alcohol.
Yeah.
Yeah. Look at the abuse that goes on in families. Every one of us has been touched or knows a very close friend that has been touched in a very negative way due to an alcoholic parent, an alcoholic uncle. And that's all, it's okay. Society says that's okay. We don't care that you're going to go behind closed doors with your alcohol and get mentally or physically abused when mom or dad gets so drunk. That's okay. But when mom and dad at home and they smoke a joint and they're mellow and
eat a bowl of cereal and fucking pass out.
Play with their kids, holy smokes, you're gonna play with your kid.
You're gonna color with your kid, you're gonna fucking do more fun shit. Yeah.
Exactly. But that's not okay.
Nah.
So, to wrap things up, by no means am I a hater. I'm just disappointed that the people that have strived to be in this world, have made this world what it is, have fantastic morals, all of a sudden got pushed to the wayside because of a bank account. And the people that are coming in and are only here to cash out. The spreadsheet tells them after 5 years, this much money is going to be in their bank account.
That's all that matters.
And they own it. They they got it, and all of us are just sitting here with our hands up, being like, wow, like, you know, I just got hit upside the side of the head. And I mean, we knew it was coming. Like, you know, all of us, we saw the regulations. We knew it was coming, and you know, we're not here to cry over it. We're just here to be disappointed that we lost.
Yeah, big money won. The government's winning.
Again.
Oh, again, yeah.
You know.
Yeah, not to get
Marlboro doesn't own 18,000 acres in Humboldt or whatever they own up there, because they're going to grow tobacco up in Humboldt.
No, they're going to have their own marijuana cigarettes here soon.
Soon. You know, Coca-Cola. I mean,
CBD Coca-Cola.
Pepsi,
Yeah.
You know,
CBD and alcohol eventually, and infused in THC beers.
Even in the Oscars the other night, they did a big thing down in Hollywood in the Oscars, because I mean, they give out like
$100,000 gift bag. I was down there in Hollywood that day too.
And this year, 3 products in there were THC.
Were THC.
THC.
Yeah.
You know, that's how. And Mark, you know, Mike, we're not getting our products into the Oscars gift bags. It's the people with money that know the people that all the way down, and their products are now in a gift bag at the Oscars.
To the famous people with all the money. The entertainers with all the money. Yeah.
The money got it to
the money.
to the money. And you know, like I said, I'm not a hater. I'm just disappointed, you know. It's just like all of us gave so much effort to do the right thing
and to build this up.
Build it up.
Really, to build it up to where it's so acceptable. It wouldn't be so acceptable.
A million people like you and I, it would not be here. And now we're not here, and it exists.
Yeah.
Because the money came in. So.
All right.
So that's my point of view.
Right on. Thank you, Mark.
And thank you, and I hope people take that to heart and makes them think. You know, it's like, not a hater, I'm just real disappointed.
Fuck yes. Absolutely.